Hi, it's Jasmin. You know, that girl who did you know what way before the internet ever existed. Join me and my special guest every week as we talk about anything and everything because nothing is too taboo. So punch your ticket and get on board the Krazy Train with me, Jasmin St. All aboard! Welcome to a brand new episode of Krazy Train Podcast. This week's guest is something for the guys who love hardcore wrestling, from ECW to WWE and now to crystal healing. Let's welcome to the show, Dawn Marie. Oh my God, I'm so glad to see you, and I'm tickled pink today that you could join me on the podcast, Dawn. Thank you so much.
Hi. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I know that you have a lot of stuff on your plate, but first of all, everyone listening is obviously going to want to know, how did you even get started in ECW wrestling? It was such a niche thing back in the 90s.
Well, I was doing the indies. I was running around on the indies. I was really pursuing that pretty hard. I did a show at Jersey All Pro.
Yep.
And it was like my first show there, an indie in the area. And Paul and Bubba were there scouting. I didn't know this at the time. I found this out like later. And you know, they saw me or whatever. And then I think like a month or so later, Terry Runnels was supposed to start with ECW against Tammy. But then she negotiated their contract and she was going back to Vince, so she had to pull out last minute. And I was in Jersey. And they remembered me from there. And then Bubba called me and he was like, oh, you know, can you come down? It was like the same day. It was like the night before. You know how ECW is. Everything's like last minute. So, like they called me and he's like, oh, hi, you know, do you want to come? You know, we would like for you to come down and do a show at the arena. And I'm like scared shitless, right? Because, you know, it's the arena. You hear all these horrible things. And you're like, okay. And I was like, when do you want me to be there? And now, mind you, it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon already. And he goes, I need you there by 3. I go, today? He's like, yeah, why? You don't want it? You can just hear Bubba saying that, right?
I can hear him saying that with the same expression. You don't want it?
Like,
okay, bye.
I know. Next. No, and I was like, no. I just wasn't expecting that, you know? And I was like, okay. Now, I live about an hour and 20 minutes from Philly. So here I am getting, like, I had to pull it together. And I went down there by myself. I'm, like, scared to death. And then I did the shot with them. It was only supposed to be a one-shot deal. Paul liked the chemistry between Lance and I. And then I got a call like a week later, and it was from Bubba, and Bubba was like, oh, you know, do you want to come and do another shot in New Orleans? You know, just like a one-time thing again, like, and I was like, yeah, sure, you know, yeah, thank you, great, you know how you are, right? And I was like, and then me being green and not having any clue, I was like, oh, okay, so where do I, you know, are you going to send me my flight information? No, back then we had actually plane tickets, right? I'm going to New Orleans. Like, what do you think? Like, I don't know, right? What would you think?
A flight
ticket?
Flight arrangement?
He's like, oh, you think you're a big shot now? You did ECW one day. You think you deserve a fucking flight? I got a big dose of Bubba real quick. And then he's like, if you want it, these are the buildings, these are the times, it's in New Orleans, we'll see you if you want it. If you don't, thank you. Right? And I was like, okay. So I was there. I got there.
Well, yeah, it's investing in yourself. It's sort of like a rock star story.
We just got, you know, you get yourself there. That's it. That's how it is.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of big musicians now, but back then, okay, you have to be at the audition at this time. You know, I had a guest on my show who spent $100 in a taxi cab ride from Orlando Airport to a venue to do an audition, but he ended up getting the job. I don't know how many trips he paid for after that, but it's wrestling. And a lot of people do, and you have to prove yourself. What even got you into wrestling? Did you like this growing up? Did you like watching Miss Elizabeth, Sherry Martel?
Yeah. When I was a kid, like, you know, my dad raised me since I'm like 5. and we grew up really, really poor. Like we were really poor. And so wrestling was kind of something that the family did, you know, it was back in the 70s, right? So this is early 70s when I was growing up. And my uncle was a big fan of wrestling, and my dad was a big fan of wrestling. And so, you know, we watched it. And then every year during WrestleMania time, like as we got older and WrestleMania came around, I remember I used to like start cleaning the refrigerator and doing all these like side chores around the house. Like, Dad, you know, look, I'm doing all this stuff. Can we get WrestleMania? But like, it was never gonna happen because we were really, really poor. And then just after that, you know, life happens. I stepped away from. I didn't have time. You know, grew up. You know, I was homeless at 17. I lived in my car.
What?
Like I kind of fell through. I fell through the school system when I was younger. Like I never even graduated from high school. And so, like, I had really effed up life growing up. And so, you know, wrestling was not something that was in my mind for many, 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 many years. Um, and then I was actually working in a strip joint.
Oh, which one?
Back when it wasn't cool. No, like back when it wasn't cool. Like this is back in like 87.
Dude, it was always cool. What are you talking about? I wanted
No, it
to work at a
wasn't.
strip joint. Which one were you
No,
working
it
at?
wasn't.
No?
Like, no,
Yeah.
like it might have been cool, but you didn't admit to it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it was like a big secret. You had a fake name and you got paid like $300 to show up. Not like now, like, not like as it changed, you know? But back then, it was a big deal. And like, I've been working the strip joint since I'm 17. So all that was going on. And then I put myself through acting school in New York and I finished. And then I put myself through NYU has a continuing education program. It's not like their Stern, it's not their college, but it's like licenses. And so I went to NYU, their like business kind of school, but not the college. And I was an appraiser for commercial investments. So basically, I was in my early 20s and I could tell you what a skyscraper was worth. That's what I did.
That's awesome.
I loved real estate. I always did. So my professor hired me right out of school, and I started working. And at like 23, I was a director of an international real estate firm in Manhattan, overlooking St. Patrick's Cathedral. I thought I made it, but I was so miserable. Like it just wasn't me. I had left the bar. You know, I thought now this is what I'm supposed to do, right? So there was a gentleman that used to come to the bar, and when I was doing my acting, I did some modeling stuff too. Remember in Spencer's, they used to have those cheesy posters, like the girl with the corn. Like I used to do those.
You were one of them? You were one of the Spencer
Yeah, I
girls?
used to do those
Okay.
things. Yeah, yeah, like
That's
years ago.
awesome. I love Spencer's.
Like anything to make a few bucks, you know what I
I'm
mean?
telling
Like
you, seriously.
so. He was like one of my customers at the bar, and I told him, you know, I'm leaving. I got this great job, blah blah blah. He said, well, listen, I have a bunch of these posters, and he used to do like these shows, these Comic Cons or whatever. And he said, can you sign them for me? You know, can you sign them up for me? And then whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, he's giving me thousands of dollars through the years. Like, why can't I just sign a few pictures for him, right? So he comes over, and I'm signing, and I find out that he used to do like small little high school promotions for WWE. Like he used to set up like the little promotions back when WWE would run small like local shows. And then here I am, just jabbing to jab, you know, talk to talk. It's like, oh, I love wrestling. Meanwhile, I haven't watched it in like 15 years at that time, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I could be like Miss Elizabeth. That would be so awesome. Blah, 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 blah. Just trying to get away at the time. I was probably like nervous energy more than anything because I had this guy in my house. I probably shouldn't have had him in my house, you know, because I'm signing up my, you know, it's stupid
Probably,
shit you do
yeah.
when you're young.
That's a safe
You know
thing.
what I mean? You just don't even think. It's like so stupid. So he calls me up a week later and he says, Dawn, I got you booked on a show. I was like, what show? What are you talking about? He said, yeah, Captain Luke, not Captain Luke, cousin Luke, does a small show in Jersey. I called him up, asked him for a favor. He said, I'll put you on. I go, like, I have no idea. What are you talking about? You know? And he said, well, I thought you were serious. And I called in his favor. So can you at least just do this one show so I don't look like an ass? And I was like, oh. So I put my little acting shoes on and I created this little character. You know, back then you were just the outside. You know, you were a valet. So I show up. I'm a valet for Jimmy Snuka
Oh my
against
God,
Tony
really?
Atlas.
That's so
Uh-huh.
cool.
Against Tony Atlas. Now, mind you, I haven't watched in like the long time. So when I was watching, last time I watched, they were the men.
Yeah.
So here I'm walking into this little school and here they are. And like, oh, these are the people you work with. I'm like, what? So we did it. We did all our thing. I took a picture with stepping on Tony's face, which I was immediately initiated into the locker room.
He likes feet, I heard. That
Yeah, he
I don't
does.
know
He
if
likes
it's true or
heels
not.
on the
Yeah.
face. It's so funny. I still have that picture. It's like priceless for me. And it's just like, you ever watch a movie and they show you everything in slow motion? Ooh, like this time warp happens. There's like this big epiphany happens in this turn of this of their person's life or whatever. That happened to me in real life. Legit. Legit. I could tell you today, 30 plus years later, how many rows were in that room, what it smelled like, where the ring was. I could tell you, I can't tell you my kids' names half the time I mix them up, okay? But I could tell you that room like I'm looking at it right now. So I remember coming out the curtain and going, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. Like, legit, everything stopped and everything started going slow. And I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking crazy. Can I curse on your show? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you're allowed to.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm Jersey. So I was like, oh my God. And so that was a Friday. I was so taken I was so taken emotionally from this moment, that this epiphany. I couldn't think of doing anything else. I just knew this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. So I called up my boss in New York on Monday morning and I said, Patty, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, but I'm not coming back. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're like 23 years old. You're a director of an international real estate firm. Like, I was doing major deals, like Jewish children's museums and just crazy huge deals, right? And working on the projects. And she's like, we'll talk about it when you come in here to get your stuff. And I said, oh no, let me be clear. I'm not coming in for my stuff. Throw it out. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Throw out my licenses, throw out my degrees, throw out all my books, throw out all my content. I'm not coming back. You could take what you want and throw everything out, because if I walk in that office, you're going to talk me out of it, and I know what I'm supposed to do. That's how much it impacted me, that moment. Is that crazy?
No, it actually sounds surreal. It's sort of a parallel experience you and I had. I had no idea you were working in clubs. I was working those Jersey clubs at one point, like when you got paid to go there, the go-go, like at Shakers. Where else was I working? Lookers, but I was mostly at Shakers, Lookers. I didn't like the Naval Base. And there's
What
one
years
of
were you in? I worked at Naval Base, was my first place.
92,
I was already gone.
93.
Out of those places, I was in a Naval Base. I started working at the Naval Base in '87.
Jesus Christ. Oh, there was a biker bar too I liked. It was a Root something or another, but
Down in South Brunswick.
yeah, but it was really cool. It was a good day shift to work because they tip really well.
Shooters. Oh,
Look,
not Shooters.
I worked at
I
Shooters
worked there
too.
too. Yeah, they owned three of them. They owned Satin Doll. Yeah, they owned a bunch of
Satin
them. They
Dolls
owned a
I
bunch.
worked at.
AJ's,
AJ's, yep.
Naval Base. Yeah, they owned all of.
Then I graduated to New York City like in 92 to like the big time to like Scores and Flash Dancers.
I was bartending in '87 at the Naval Base and AJ's. I was dancing the end of '87. No, the end of 80, like by the end of 88, I was dancing.
Did you make it into Mentortainment magazine?
No,
I didn't
no.
either. It's not a big deal anyway.
My father would have killed me. I kept that from a secret from my family. Like nobody ever knew.
Well, you normally
It was
don't
like
tell
this big.
your family these things.
Yeah, it
It's
was a
not
little
really
weird, you know.
conversation.
Not like nowadays, you know. It's different. So
That's so
anyway,
weird. That's
we worked
awesome.
in all the same places. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know who used to run them was Electra.
I remember she was the house mom at like Satin Dolls or something. And
That's
I
how I
met her
met her.
when I
I knew
came
her
into
way before
ECW.
wrestling.
Yeah, I didn't know it was her. I didn't put two and two together because I went straight from there, obviously, into adult films. Then I got into wrestling. So I kind of had that little transition. But you seem to be really mature at 23, quitting your normal job. So you were way more mature about it than I was. Because when I stopped working an adult, I didn't even call my boss to let him know I was not coming there the next day. I wanted to go wrestling. But when you get into the ring, it's a certain type of energy. And if you really want to be there, you catch that buzz. Because to this day, I still haven't quit. It's almost like a drug, right? Are you looking for a safe way to bet online where there is something for everyone, including yourself? Then go to betonline.ag where I am sure you will find something. Don't forget, it's betonline.ag for the most variety and the safest way to bet online.
Yeah, it's hard to. I had to divorce the business when I left. When I had my children, I legit divorced the business. I had no contact with anyone. I did not take any appearances. I didn't keep. There was not. This is my only thing I have of wrestling. And this has only been up for probably like the last 10 years after my kids found out what I did. Okay? Nobody knew. I never watched it. I had to divorce it because one, I was very hurt over it. And I was angry. And like not angry, but just angry. Like just angry, but not like hateful, but just had a bad taste in my mouth, kind of angry. You know what I mean? And Ivory, Ivory. And I was never friends with her really in wrestling. I was talking to her after wrestling, and we were talking. She was asking me how I was doing. I'm telling you, I'm kind of struggling. I'm struggling because I was on the road for so long, and you don't know how closed off you are to the entire world until you step away from that world. You don't understand. I was with the same people 275 days a year in the same little 4 rooms, talking the same language. Your whole world was revolved around waking up, what you drank, what you ate, your input, your output, you're working out, you're a machine, and then let's not even talk about the politics and the backstabbing and the manipulations that go on, that you're constantly on high alert. So it's so dysfunctional that you become functional in it, that when you're planted in the real world, I couldn't even have a conversation with people. I couldn't articulate my thoughts or my words. I would talk. I would say, well, yeah, like I couldn't find words because I only knew the words of what we spoke. I only knew how to communicate what I was feeling based on our language in the locker room. And it was really hard. And I was telling her, I was like, I'm having difficulty. I'm really having difficulty. And she said, Dawn, the only way you will ever be successful is if you divorce the business. Divorce it. Like a husband. Start your life. One day, maybe you can put your foot back in. But you have to divorce the business in order to start your life over again. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
She's right.
And I said, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. It makes them like, you can't do two things great. And I just watched people for so many years try to leave and they get sucked back in. They go back and I didn't want to be chasing that ball. I didn't want to, not that I'm putting anyone down. I just knew that I was not capable of doing two things great. I can only do one thing at a time great. You know what I mean? Like as great as I can. So I was a mom and I just focused on being a mom. And then I went to nursing school and I love being a nurse. And not until 2 years ago, not even like, I took my first appearance in Philly. It was the first appearance. And I would tell everybody, it was so funny because promoters would call me and say, I know you're going to say no, but it's your yearly phone call and I'm going to ask anyway. And I'm like, okay, nope. And I had told Marty from T-Mart, which is my very dear friend, never did me dirty, never did me wrong in business. I could totally trust him with everything. And I always told him, when I'm ready to come back, I will only go through you because I trust you. You know me. I don't want to deal with any nonsense. Like, so I did. When I decided I wanted to go back and just, my kids are older now, you know. I missed a lot of friends. I've watched a lot of people die on TV. You know, you see them, oh, this person died. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, how many years went by? And I just said, I'm ready to have a little bit of that in my life again. Just old friendships and dip my toe in. That's it. That's it.
Well, I don't
Then
think
NXT calls me. There we go.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And NXT calls and I did that, but I'm I have no interest on ever going back. I'm good. I can honestly say I sit on my couch at the end of the day and there's nowhere else I want to be but right there. Did it all. I'm good. NXT was a great final chapter for me. I was really scared about going in and doing it. And I pretty much almost said no first. But then I said yes because I knew I could say no after I said yes, but I can't say yes after I've said no. So I kind of did that. And it was really healing for me. Really, really healing for me. I was able to have my goodbye, my last, on my term, just mend those bridges and just feel good about where I am today. And it was really, really, really pivotal to my happiness today. I'm glad I had it.
Well, you looked great, and I know that everyone was very happy to see you in the ring, and fans were extremely happy. I saw a lot of comments online how excited they were to see you in the ring, and you looked amazing. So I was glad for that. Since you have not done a lot of appearances, hopefully you can get over to the UK for the For the Love of Wrestling convention. I think it's usually in February in Manchester. Talk about the WWE, because that was when I saw you go there, I was so happy for you because you were always you and Jazz and Elektra were some of the nicest girls I met in the locker room in ECW.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank
really,
you.
that's truthful. And you're very authentic. I always remember your skimpy little outfits and how awesome they were. And but I was happy to see you in WWE because of the way you carried yourself in the ring and in the locker
Yeah.
room. What was that like working there?
It was a dream come true. It was amazing. You know, like I said, I come from very humble beginnings, you know, and to be able to say I desired something, I went after it, I achieved it, I did my best, and I finished. That's an accomplishment a lot of people don't get in their lifetime. Like, I got to live my dream. And for many different reasons, I got to live my dream. You know, one, it was something I wanted, something I loved the wrestling business, loved it. I loved the politics. I loved the old school mentality. I loved the rituals. I loved every single thing there was about it. I had nothing but the utmost respect. Like, it's through me through and through. It's like if you were to tell me you don't get up and shake hands anymore, because I know that they don't do that anymore. When I heard that, I was like, "What do you mean? That's a spoon. I eat soup with a spoon. Like, you can't tell me now it's called a fork. Like, that. What do you mean? Like, because it was so such a huge part of my life of being a part of something and earning it and being accepted and tradition, which I didn't have as a kid because of my life, the way I grew up. I didn't have traditions. So it was just like, these were my traditions. These were my, I don't want to say family because they're not. The business was my home, not necessarily the players. Like, the structure of the business became my home. and I functioned really well in it, even though it was dysfunctional, right? And um, it was just a place of belonging for the first time in my life, really, and contributing. So wrestling was really important to me on so many levels, and it's truly just a part of who I am. Even today, like I'm a really easygoing mom, easy. But let me tell you something, the respect, there's a line in the sand. I'll whoop your ass. I don't care how big you are, how tall you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you have 10 kids of your own. Like the line is in the sand. You know, and that's a wrestling thing. Like you could do things your way, you could be creative, but the line's in the sand. Period. There's no, you know, like for instance, if I was out with my kids and we saw someone in uniform, like a military uniform, I better not tell you to go over there and say thank you for serving for us since they were little. You better go, Ma, and we'll go over there. Like, you don't call adults to this day, like my son's 19, you don't call adults by their first name.
Oh God, no.
No, even their babysitters say, no, they can call me Dad. I said, no, they can't. You're Miss Diane. You're Miss Diane. I'm sorry, because there has to be a hierarchy. There has to be an accountability to their actions and their responses and who they are as human beings. And I just feel like if I taught my kids respect and self-awareness, everything else will fall in line. I never worried about teaching my kids this is what you're supposed to do and it's A, B, C, D, E. No, go learn what the world's about. As long as you have a solid line of what's right and wrong and the awareness to know the difference of when you step over, you're cool. Anything else we could figure out. That's it. Like they're all just learning lessons. And maybe that's a street in me, I don't know, but like that's from wrestling for sure. For sure. The respect line, and so it was big for me. It was really a big huge part of who I am.
It is weird though, because when I just got back into the business a couple of years ago, I was working for a deathmatch company. And you have these backyarders coming in and they don't even, I don't know who trained them if they were watching like jackass videos, but they didn't even like shake hands to say hi to anyone. And it just leaves such a, it's just disenchanting. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth to ever work with someone like that ever again. And I know one of them saw me at another show. At the end of the show, he was there with his ring rat and he's like, "Oh, hey, Jasmine." It's like, really ill. Okay. Like, don't even talk to me. It's a bit too late to say hi.
I don't blame them.
Really?
No.
How come?
I blame those who came before.
Oh, okay.
I would never be disrespectful in business because those before taught me how to treat the business with respect, why we treat the business with respect, and by disrespecting it, what does it really mean? Therefore, I could never. You know, like I just don't know how to. I don't think I could physically do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't. Because it's ingrained. So I don't blame them. I blame our generation that allowed it. And to this day, I do. And to this day, like when I went into NXT, it took me almost an hour to get to the locker room, but guess what I did?
Introduced yourself as soon as you went in.
As I walked in, I introduced myself and shook every single person's hand and introduced myself all the way to the back. Because that's what you do. And, you know, like, I know Bubba was like, "Don, we don't do that anymore." I'm like, well, I do. I do. I do it. Because if I don't do it, then I'm showing the next generation that it's okay not to. You know, like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No, it makes sense. Like I still introduce myself to everyone like when I go back to work. I started working JCW and it's you got older school guys there like Ricky Morton works there. So Yeah, I met his son as well because the son works there. But
He's so sweet.
aren't
His
they?
son.
I mean, the son is
Yeah,
adorable.
yeah,
Such
yeah.
nice people, all
So
of
cute.
them. It was such a well-run locker room. But I feel as though maybe it's an extension of where I left off in ECW because I didn't have that I didn't have the length of the career in that business that I wanted. So the opportunity came back. So, okay, you heard the opportunities now, right? Let's just take it and run with it and see what happens. Because look, here we are talking. We reconnected at Wrestle Con last year, which is amazing. Now, I know that you divorced from the business. We all do it at some point, and that's smart. So, how did crystals come into your life? Because I see all these posts about crystals, and they're beautiful, by the way.
Well, after wrestling, and then I was getting separated and divorced. I had to go back to school because I had to make a living, right? We don't, back in my day, we didn't make the money that they're making now. Like, you made okay, but not enough for the rest of your life with. So um I went back to school, and I became a nurse. And it was weird. Like, I would go to work and I would feel so drained afterwards. Like, when I was a nurse, when I first started. And I mean, to the point where I had to sleep. And I don't mean just tired, working tired, just fatigued. Like couldn't even, can't even think. And then I realized, as I was working with the same people all the time, I knew what they wanted before they needed it. Because I worked with all seniors. I like geriatrics. It's my favorite. But it's all the relationship. Yeah, it's like all that whole relationship. So, and then I start realizing, like, okay, this is weird. Maybe it's just like I'm in tune to what they, I have them every day. And then I just kind of fell into crystals. I thought they were beautiful. They kind of found me. I started reading about them. It made sense on a scientific, metaphysical science way, how they work. Um, and I was like, okay, that I could wrap my head around that. That makes it, I'm very black and white. Okay, yeah. And I thought they were beautiful. And then I started purchasing them, and they made me feel amazing. And then I started purchasing more and more and more. And then I had so many that, like, I had nowhere to put them. And my family, like, thought I was crazy. And I had no friends that liked crystals. So I decided that I was going to start my own little crystal live, because I didn't really know a lot about them, but I figured it would be kind of fun to grow with. As I'm learning about them, here they are, let's read about it, and let's learn about it, and let's talk about it. And before I know it, I had a big store, and I have this really wonderful community that are some of the best friends I've ever been blessed with. It's just a different type of person, that it's a lifestyle, and it's a journey, and it's looking at what's in front of you and living that experience rather than choosing what experiences you're going to have, because we're human and we think we know everything, and we're always living the life we choose because we choose this road, that road, rather than looking at it and saying, okay, let's see what's being presented to me. I mean, yeah, you're gonna say right or wrong, what's morally correct and but you're not choosing the road. You're living the path that's in front of you or placed in front of you and experiencing life. And it's a different way of approaching hardships and happiness and joy. And I don't have angst anymore. Like, I used to, especially being in wrestling, right? You're 10 steps ahead or calculated because so and so might, by seeing you say this and that, and you're like, I want them to hear me, but I don't want them to hear me. Then this is, and it's like everything had a reason. And for once in my life, it was none of that anymore. It was just living what was placed in front of me, and it was so freeing, and I loved it. And just, I'm happy. I feel really genuinely happy with where I'm at, who I am, my journey. I'm excited for whatever's in front of me. Like, I trust I call it the universe, right? Everyone calls it something different, God or Allah or whatever you want to call your higher being. You know, you could call it whatever you want. Okay, let's just call it the universe because it's a higher being, right? I'm just so grateful that I understand and I realize now that I was placed here with all the tools I need for this journey I'm on. I just have to trust what's being placed in front of me, that I'll figure out what tools I have to get through it and learn. And it's really it's exciting. It's very, very freeing, and it's a different kind of community and people that I work with. And they support that theory, and like it's hard at first because we're human. We keep going back to what we think we're supposed to be doing, what people might think. But when you start being able to get around that and really trust, it's such a beautiful place to be in. I'm genuinely happy. I really, even in bad times, I'm happy. I feel good. I feel good about it because I know that's what I'm supposed to be going through. It's where I am. So
Yeah, you definitely
you know,
found it 100%.
yeah, I feel at peace. You know, I really do. I have no angst. I have no anger. I refuse. You know, I tell my kids, listen. At the end of the day, you review your day. If you did anything wrong, you said anything wrong, you hurt anybody's feelings intentionally and unintentionally, just fix it. Be aware. You know, the apology is just letting someone know you acknowledge you did something. It's what you do afterwards is the actual apology, right? So if you follow through.
The action.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I live my day. I review the day and I'm like, okay, because that human side of me is there and I make stupid mistakes or say stupid things or do things. And then like you just make it right somehow, you know, whatever way you can, and then you adjust it. And it's just very freeing. It's a very free way of living. And I love it. I love it. I have no angst, no worries. Not worries. I don't know. I have worries. I just don't stress over the worries because I trust in them. I trust that I have the tools and I'm going to get through it.
Yeah, you really can't. You just got to go with it and see where it ends up and then just deal with that when it's in front of you, like whatever it is, and
Yeah.
keep living
And I
life.
don't mean that in a reckless way.
Yeah.
Like some people are like, oh, don't plan for your future. No, I plan for my future. And I'm not saying be reckless. I'm just saying absorb what's in front of you because that's what you're supposed to be doing next.
Let me ask you this, flashing back for a moment. When ECW ended, like that was it. Did you think your career was over at that point, or did you know there would be something else?
I, I, I knew I wasn't done. I don't know what capacity it would be, but I knew I wasn't going to take no for an answer. You know, like I was going to do everything human. Like it was. I loved the business. I just knew that's where I belonged. I just knew that's what I had to do. You know, and where I belonged. So I knew I had to do whatever I had to do to make myself better, to be available, to be able to offer myself to someone. I never felt like I was owed anything. I never thought I was, oh, I was on ECW, so I should go. No. Okay, what is WWE looking for right now? This is what they're looking for? Okay. So I started learning how to wrestle. I would go like 3 times a week, and I would drive all the way up to Long Island and go to Mikey Whipwreck school with Simon Diamond. And I mean, I was in my 30s at that time, so it was not easy on my body, you know, like I was older. And I had to learn how to work a match from bell to bell. It was very hard, but I did it because I knew that that's what I wanted, and I wasn't going to take no. I wasn't going to not be a part of the business because of my lack of effort, or my feeling of entitlement, or my like. It wasn't going to be me. It was going to be because maybe I wasn't good enough, or maybe because I didn't fit in that spot, or whatever the reason. Someone didn't like me. Someone didn't like my personality, or whatever. But it wasn't going to be because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. That's all I knew. And that's what I did. And I was really blessed and had a great opportunity. And, you know, just ran with it and did my best. But I knew it was over. I knew it was over when it was over.
Yeah, well, that was
Like, no, like, not because of that. I knew that before. Because I remember being in South Africa, and I was sitting on the table in the locker room, and Tori's there and Nydia's there, and I was just like, not myself, I guess. And I'm just sitting there, and they looked. I remember Tori going, "What's wrong?" I'm like, and Nydia was there. I go, "Is this it?" And they're like, "What?" I go, "Is this it?" And they like looked at me just like you are, like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" you know. And I said, "It's just that I didn't have the same joy, and like I didn't feel like it was a part of my life anymore. Like I felt myself growing out of it. You know, it was like I was getting older. I was in my 30s. I was like my mid 30s at this time, and the clock was ticking. I knew I wanted to have family one day. Um, it's not that I didn't love wrestling. I just knew wrestling wasn't enough anymore. Like I wanted a family. I wanted something. I never had that. And I didn't want to in life not have that experience of having a beautiful family. Right? So I started missing that part that I never had. And that's why I was like, is this it? It's not completely fulfilling me anymore because I was growing and I needed to go in a different direction. So I did start looking at that time. I was actually looking at surrogates.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, look at my examples. I mean, anyone else, women didn't have children on the road. They didn't, could be pregnant, be in a business. So I was like, okay, so my contract's up in a year and a half, maybe 2 years it was at the time. I was like, either I'm going to resign and not have any family, or I'm going to figure something out. So I did. I started looking at surrogates. I started looking at all different options again because I wasn't going to let someone dictate to me. I was going to try to figure it out some way. And yeah, I knew it. I knew it at that moment. I knew it. I just knew it. And then there was another incident after that. Maybe before that. I don't know if it was before or after. We were on a plane to Russia. And we were going to crash. We
Jesus
thought we were going to crash.
Christ.
Like, we weren't on our plane to Russia. We were playing somewhere else, but we had an emergency land in Russia. The plane was literally going across the sky like this and dropping. And even the pilots, they said between them, they had like 50, 60 years worth of experience, and they don't even know how they were able to land in a plane. They like, we don't even know how this plane didn't break apart. They were calling from the top. Like, the stewardesses were like, put your head, locked down, whatever. They were doing all the emergency stuff. We were, they weren't even going to let us land in Russia, but they eventually let us land in Russia. Emergency landing. And I can remember, you get that whole big flush and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Like, it was like, oh my God, this is how it's going to end. Like, what? Really? Everyone was quiet. And there's this whole thing. And I remember thinking, wow, I could die here right now and nobody's life is going to be completely impacted by it. Like, it really like hit me like that hard. I was like, I mean, it's going to suck. I'm telling my family, my brothers or whatever, they'll be sad, but nobody's life is going to be really impacted by that. So what is the purpose of me being here? I remember thinking that. Like, I had no children. I had wrestling. That's it. And I think that was really the start of me thinking like, okay, the clocks are ticking. Sitting in South Africa, is this it? Like these little moments were happening. And then the last time was when we were in Iraq. And I remember going down this, because we went places that other people did not go. All right, they separated us into little groups. We went on the Blackhawks, and they brought us to places that no one else really went to. And I remember we were driving down this dirt road, is sand, dirt road, sand road, sand, 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 like for as far as you could possibly see on either side. And I remember coming up and there was a truck, a military truck, and there was a boy up on the top, a soldier down the bottom, and they're just staring into the sand like this. Just staring for hours. Who knows how long they were there? Who knows? Just staring, waiting. And so we got out, and I remember seeing them, and I couldn't get this kid out of my head. I don't know why he just hit me so hard, and I was just like, holy shit. The world is really bigger than just me. You know, it just like really hit me. And, you know, we say goodbye. I mean, like an idiot, you know, I'm like, hi guys, oh, where's home? Got kids looking in the fucking sand, and I'm asking them how about home. Like, am I an asshole? Or like, I'm so delusional because we're in this little world of wrestling that no one else evolves around in except for us, right? Like, you're not thoughtful. And I can remember those words, and I remember the kid just having tears come down his face, but he was really strong like a soldier. He was like, I was like, oh, and I realized what I said, and I was like, yeah, kind of like I didn't notice, whatever. Couldn't get him out of my head. We did our appearance, and now we're going back down the road. Hours and hours later, we come up to the truck, and there are the same two young kids staring into the sand. And I just said, you guys gotta stop. And they're like, we already stopped. I'm like, no, you guys stop. I made them stop. And I made him come down. And the other boy went up the top, and he came down, and I just hugged him and started crying, like boo-hoo crying. And I was like, you just changed my entire life. And he did. Like, I'm getting chills just talking about it. Like, look at him, like red. Like, you just changed my entire life, and thank you. I was like, I know you're not understanding this, but I can't thank you enough. Not only for being here, but you just changed my whole perspective on who I am, what I am, and what life is. And I just want to appreciate you and thank you. Like, I could cry thinking about it. It was just such a moment. And I remember getting off the plane that year. You know, we got off the plane, and I realized what it meant to kiss the ground you walked on. Like, legit understood it. Like, holy shit. And at that moment, I realized that there's more to this world and to life and what my purpose for being here is than doing what I was doing at the moment. I knew, you know, I just knew it. I just felt like, okay, it's time. It's time. And, you know, met the first guy I could meet, got pregnant. It was like the girl that was in a strict home, and like, you know, the first boy that asks him to marry him and get married and go run away and get out of the house. Like, and I did that. I mean, I love my ex-husband. I love my children. I'm glad it happened. But when I look back now, it has a lot of similarities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just knew I didn't fit anymore there like that. It wasn't part of my journey anymore. So.
It's a very lovely story, especially how
Yeah, I'm
then
sorry. I'm
it just,
talking. You
no,
know me,
that's
I
what we
talk a
want to
lot.
hear. But I like the part I just, you know, got pregnant by the first guy I met. That sounds like such a middle America small town story.
And it is, you
It
know, like my
is.
whole life was, you
Yeah.
know, the girl, the stripper that
Yeah.
went put herself in school, and you know, and I finally thought I had this great the high position job. I had a great, you know, like my business card made me important for once, you know, and then I was not happy because I didn't have anything to model my life by, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do like what I see on TV. You go to school, you get a good job, you get married, you have a white picket fence, you know, the whole run on set. I don't know. I didn't know. I had nothing to mimic it from. So once I started going in that direction, I was like, man, this is not making me happy. Like, this can't be it. Like, even then, like, I was just always aware of, I just always wanted to just be happy. That's it. I just wanted to make myself happy. That's it. And whatever I had to do to get there, that was fine. Like, no matter how hard I had to work to get there, I don't mean in a negative way. There are people like that. But, like, I will work my hardest to get what I want. You know what I mean? I won't work my hardest to push others out. I will work my hardest to grow and be what the best I can be so that I can accomplish what I need to do. You know, there's two types of people in wrestling. There's the ones that love who they are when they're walking out the door and they're walking down that ramp, and there's people who love what they're doing when they walk down the ramp. You know, it's just there's only two. That's it.
Yeah, and there are
There's only
people
two.
that that work hard to be the best that they the best that they can, and there are people that work hard to do their best at pushing other people out and putting them down. But that's just, it takes all kinds to make the world. And I wanted to ask you this before, and I did not forget this. Do you ever see yourself working behind the scenes?
I just feel like I'm glad I went back because it gave me closure. You know? Would I help? Of course. That's what's, the one regret I've always had was that I was never able to pass the torch. And I feel like that was very disrespectful, that I was never able to give it to the next person that came in like it was given to me, because the business is given to you, you know? So I am very generous with my knowledge, and there are people that I see and I've contacted and I help them behind the scenes, and they don't even, people don't know. I'll watch your stuff or this or that, or, I don't know. I try to do it that way. If they want it, I'm not offering, like, they'll ask me. But I don't fit there anymore. It's not who I am anymore.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
No.
These
I would not fit there. I would not fit there.
These appearances that you have coming up, are they in the ring or just strictly signing?
Signings. Signing. I can't wrestle anymore. I can't go in the ring anymore. My neck is all metal. My whole neck is metal. And I have a lot of complications that come along with it because of nursing. Because it's my 3, 4, 5 is a cage, and I have 2 prosthetic discs and 2 fusions. So as a nurse, I'm always looking down into my cart to get medicine for people. So I'm bending it between my 2 and 3, right? Which is not how it's built to move. 2 and 3 is meant to move like this, not like this. So I've had 2 radio ablations in the last 2 years where they just burn out the nerve. It's just so painful. And now I'm having problems between my 6 and 7 because I'm not bending up there, and I'm bending from down here now because I'm trying not to bend from up here, and now I'm compensating lower. So now I'm having difficulties down in here. So I really can't even nurse that much anymore. I do like maybe 2, 3 days a week. And I do my crystals, which I love. I'm going to start my own podcast. I'm going to do my own little thing here. I do lives on Fridays, most Fridays. Some Fridays I don't. But most Fridays and Saturdays, I'll do some lives. We do educations. It's really, like, honestly, it's not even about selling it. It's just, like, I love talking about them, and we have fun, and we play games. And, yeah, if you want it, it's there for sale. But it's not, like, the purpose of it. And we have this great little community, and we really do have a lot of fun. And I look forward to them.
Where do people find this community that you have, your lives?
Right now, I have it on my Facebook. It's called Crystal Vibrations and Healing. I could give you the links. You can have it. Maybe if I can get a really great producer.
I know one. Only one.
They could teach me how to link it to where, like, my other social medias will also get the same live. I don't know how to do that. I know there's a way of doing it.
I know how to do it.
Oh, well, there you go. Like I know, and I've been paying for the program for like a year and a half, and I still can't figure it out. But like like when I could do it on my Facebook, but it shows on my Instagram and everywhere at one time. I don't know how to do that.
StreamYard.
Stream
I
in,
just
girl.
gave you the answer, and I did not like StreamYard at first because of that ridiculous duck. And no, actually, I like the duck.
Yeah, the duck. I can't figure out the
Cute.
duck.
But the thing is, anytime I tried to use it, I had all these difficulties. So then I divorced StreamYard, but then I do a live on Monday night. So I had to get back on StreamYard. Plus, I'm doing a few other projects. So StreamYard is the way to go. And if when we're in Vegas, I could totally set this whole thing up because everyone, Dawn Marie is coming to Vegas at Wrestle Con, which is going to be a big deal. I get to see you. So that's April 18th and 19th, or 17th, 18th, and 17th, 18th, and 19th in Las Vegas at the Westgate
And the
Resort.
20th, isn't it? The Sunday too.
Yeah, Sunday too. So April 17th through the 20th, WrestleCon. You could meet Dawn Marie there. It's at the Westgate Casino and Resort. Is there a casino there? I hope not. So who are you signing for, and what are your signing hours?
Rob Feinstein.
Yay!
I'll be with Art Video.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll be there with Art Video. I believe Bubba's going to be there, and Devon, and some other people I don't really know. I mean, I know them. I just don't know who's going to be there. I just know they're going to be there. Yeah. And then I'm gonna go do Rikishi's Luau.
Oh, when is
Did
this?
you hear about that? You should come with me.
When is it?
He's doing like his own. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, come with me. It's just a big party.
When? Where? What
And it's
day?
gonna have luau, and I'll send you the link. You can put it on your thing. I'll let him know.
If it's okay with him, because Saturday night I work the JCW show. It's at midnight.
He does it every night. It's every night.
Okay,
4 nights
well,
in a
let's
row.
go
And it's
on
like
Saturday.
His show.
Let's go Friday to the luau. So come meet me and Dawn Marie at the luau as well. You could wear one of those lays and get laid that way and stuff.
Yeah, we'll lay you that way.
Yeah, for sure. But you count me in the luau because there's going to be food there. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be people.
He's gonna have wrestling matches during the day. It's like a whole day event. But then at night, because we can't do the day thing because we're gonna be signing, right? So like at night he's having all these other kind of events, and I know one of them is like a luau every night at midnight or something like that. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun.
I'll go to the Friday one. Actually, yeah, I'll go to Friday or Thursday because Saturday is the show. But then May 3rd, we have you in Washington, Pennsylvania. May 10th, you can see her in Hastings, Minnesota. So those of you in the Midwest, there is Hastings, Minnesota. You can meet Dawn Marie. Those of you in Washington, PA, you can meet her May 3rd. But I say April is the best one ever because everyone's going to be in like party mode. Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo, Vegas!
Yay!
We'll have fun.
Well, thank you. And I can't wait to see you. And sit tight.